And back from a long hiatus, it's Staring Into the Abyss.
Ho!
With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Holy shit, we're back. And we already had technical difficulties. This seems normal.
Yep.
Very normal. And with us from a little bit across the Atlantic, as always, is Vitlame Mist.
Yo, good to be back. Happy New Year.
Yes!
Happy New Year. Happy... Well, you don't have to deal with what we're dealing with right now in Iceland, so...
I know, January. What a year, right?
Enjoy that. Yeah, what a year. These 2 weeks have been a fucking nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one goddamn nightmare.
It does feel like a very, 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 very long time.
It does. And it's going to feel like a longer time. But you know what makes these times go by fast?
Fun stuff.
Yeah, good friends, good books, good movies.
Escapism.
Drugs.
Yes.
Escapism, drugs. Going to rehab, relapsing.
Falling into a hole.
Falling into a hole.
Prolapsing.
Making Greenland a 51st state. Okay, I'll stop. But for real, like, books and media is always a good way for us to escape, to process things.
Yes.
I don't know about you guys, but I find I process, like, a lot of what's going on through music and books and media.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like, they kind of help me make sense of things.
Yeah, it's like a nice, and hopefully this will make sense, but it's a nice, like, static moment. I know, like, video games and movies technically aren't static, but you know what I mean. It's like a stopped moment for a period of time where you're not doom scrolling, you're not watching the news or reading the news, whatever it is that you do to process the news or ingest the news, I should say. So, like, yeah, it's a good little moment to just let your brain be like, okay, I'm going somewhere else for a little bit, whatever it may be. Music,
It
games.
can also redirect the rage you have.
Yes.
Well, that's my writing. I was talking about that story the story I was writing before the podcast started. And, like, that story, well, yes, it was partly inspired by that game I mentioned, Click Holding. Really, it's just all my rage and all my disgust at what's going on.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just pumping all that into this story.
Good. It's a good way. But yeah, that helps. So that's what we're here for, to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, before we get into our recommendations not recommendations, but some of our favorite things from last year, because this episode is just a Sin of Abyss, where we talk about some of our favorite things of last year and hopefully convince you to check them the fuck out.
Yes.
I also like to still do our weekly roundup recommendation of kind of fun stuff that we're getting into.
One fun thing that I read recently, and I don't know if I feel like this is going to be one of these things that's going to explode if it hasn't already exploded. And I'm going to be terrible at pronouncing this name because I don't speak Japanese. So I'm just going to apologize now for the name speaking. But Uketsu, Strange Pictures.
Oh, I'm in the middle of reading that, actually.
Are you? All right. Yeah. Well, and I'll be good, and I won't spoil because it is a major mystery kind of thing, like ish. So for listeners, this is apparently Uketsu. Again, I might be saying this name way off, but he's got a bunch of because they have a bunch of videos on YouTube. And a reason partly saying they is because they wear a mask and a full black bodysuit, and it's this weird, creepy white mask, which is 2 holes for eyes, 1 hole for a mouth. And they do these really awesome videos. Some of them are translated into English, maybe more of them. I've only watched a couple. But they're like these weird mystery picture things where they get a phone call or like somebody asks them to figure something out. So there's a really famous one, Strange Houses, which I think might be an anime or a manga. Either way, doesn't matter. There's a video you can find on YouTube called Strange Houses where Uketsu gets this from a friend, like a house layout for a house, and it has this weird like space in the kitchen that has no doors, but like when you look at the blueprint, it's like clearly there's something there. And so Ketsu then has to figure out what it is, and so Ketsu calls somebody like an architect, and you find out like I don't know if it's on YouTube, so it doesn't matter if I spoil it, because whatever. I'm talking about Strange Pictures, not Strange House. Turns out that like is like a little throughway between these two rooms and the second story, because there's like a kid's room that has no windows, and you realize like what's happening, and it's just this really fascinating kind of video. And I think all the videos are similar to that, where they get pictures and then they try to figure out what this thing is. Strange Pictures is this in a book form. It has multiple pictures in it, and the whole story is about kind of like it's like 5 short stories, and they're sort of interconnected short stories. And again, I'm not gonna reveal the mystery because it's actually done really well. But like it starts out, these two people are looking. There's like this weird blog, just this person's everyday life, and then like you start seeing this blog, like the person's wife is having a baby, and the wife is drawing all these like interesting pictures that you're not like they're kind of innocuous, but then as you start going, you realize like something weird is with them. And so in the story, they like take these pictures and they do all these like things where they like lay them on top of each other and flip them around, and you realize it's telling a story. And then it just keeps going. And so these other short stories all have pictures, and they're trying to figure out the mystery of these pictures. And again, they're all really innocuous. There's like an apartment building that has this like scrubbed out little area where their where their apartment is, this kid's apartment. And it, you realize like there's more to it than just that. Or there's like a picture of a tree with a bird in it, and there's more to it than just being a picture of a tree with a bird in it. Anyway, it's awesome. It's a little less like horror. It's more mystery and kind of strangeness than anything. But there's a little bit of horror because there's something going on that I'm not going to spoil throughout. But it's mostly just like, hey, let's figure out this weird mystery. And the way to do that is by looking at these kind of weird pictures. It's awesome. It's one of those things that I think is apparently in Japan, it's huge. This uketsu is just like this phenomenon there. And so I think they're trying to bring it over here to the States, or at least the English speaking countries. I don't know if they're selling it other places, but it's super awesome. Definitely worth checking out. I think they're taking Strange Houses and making it into a book as well and releasing it here, at least again in America, but we'll see. So anyway, Uketsu, Strange Pictures. I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those books that like slowly explode as more and more people read it. So that was one of the things I've read in the last month or so that I definitely highly recommend. And it just came out. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm like halfway through the second story of Strange Pictures.
Yeah.
Like the first one was really good, but I just got super busy with work. And get back to the book because I was enjoying it quite a bit when I was reading it.
It's cool. It's like, yeah, it's neat. You'll see as you go on how they figure this all out. It's fascinating.
You know, it's really like interesting stuff. I need to finish it up.
Yeah, and then look on YouTube for Uketsu. It's crazy. Like that Strange House is it again. That's not scary, but the way they shoot it with Uketsu, like in this weird, like in this like really bare looking room, and just in this all black like bodysuit and this white face, and the voice they do. It's that part's more scary than what the story is. The story is very interesting, but like watching Uketsu do this stuff and hear them talk, you're just like, this is just insane. So yes, definitely finish it.
Yeah, no, I need to finish it. That's on my list. I mean, part of my whole thing is, goddamn my nose now. Part of my whole thing is I would tend to just get stoned before I go to bed because to escape from everything. And now that I have a CPAP machine, I really can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to be doing a bit more reading before I go to sleep now.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm like 23% through Strange Pictures according to my Kindle.
Nice.
I have that. I'm working on the Dead Cattail Assassins on my Kindle as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I also got Ralph James White's kids debut book as well.
Oh, nice.
But I'm working through all those. I will say one recommendation I think I do have for people, and this is kind of coming more along the lines of video games than say books or anything else, is there's a game I'm playing right now called Lost Judgment.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure Vitlame knows the Yakuza games pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you played the Yakuza games?
If not really myself, but I watch my husband play it. But I'm aware of the gameplay and the stories.
They're so fucking wild. But Lost Judgment.
They're brutal.
The judge, not too brutal. I mean, they got karaoke. Lost Judgment is a sequel, is kind of like a side series to the Yakuza games, which is like the Yakuza games are kind of zany and wacky, and the stories kind of all over the place. They have really good stories, but if you are jumping in at game 7, there's like a lot of shit that you are not caught up on, or might be kind of confusing to you as a player. So they have a side series that's called Judgment, and the second one is called Lost Judgment, and you play as a detective in kind of the world that the Yakuza games take place in. And it's one of the best, like, mystery stories I played in the video game.
Yeah.
Like, in the second game, he's called in to a different region of Japan where one of his buddies from the first game has started a detective agency. And the game opens up, and at the opening of the game, a woman is groped on a train. And the man who gropes her gets arrested, and it turns out he's a police officer, and it's this really big thing. And when he makes a statement after he's found guilty at his trial, he says that on this building in Yokohama, they're going to find a dead body. And they do, and they find a person who went missing 3 months ago, and he's been dead for 3 months. And your character is called into Yokohama to figure out how all this happened. Like, how does this arrested police officer know this man's died? The death happened on the same time, and the police officer was arrested. How could he be in 2 places at once? And it's also connected to a series of school bullying and school suicides.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
And so, like, as a character, which I know Vitlame knows a bit about Japanese culture, but schools really like to brush under bullying a lot in Japan.
Yep.
And so your character's kind of uncovering what's going on.
Yeah, they don't want to take responsibility at all.
No, they don't. And the game does have this wacky moments. Like, there's a part in the game where you have to you work with the school mystery club, and they're also trying to be like many detectives, and you have to infiltrate the different school clubs to like find out the secrets going on there. So there's one where like you have to infiltrate the school dance team and become their dance instructor. So like it gets a bit goofy when it comes to like stuff like that. There's one part in the game where like your character has to enter a skateboarding competition. So it gets kind of goofy at certain points, but like, the core story is like really, and same with the Yakuza games, or they're called Like a Dragon now, but they really touch on some like important stuff going on in Japanese culture.
Yeah.
And society. And I think like they're a really good mirror to like what's going on in reality, while also being really fun video games. It's one game I would definitely recommend playing. But Vitlame, what about you?
I have actually a TV show that I recommend for people to watch.
Yes.
Because everyone was really, excited about Squid Game season 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then everyone was pretty bummed at the cliffhanger, right?
Yeah.
It did seem that way.
I expected a cliffhanger, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Which is weird because the season 3 start is going to be on June 27, I think.
The third and apparently final season's coming out in June. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like why
this June?
This June.
Yeah, this June.
Oh, crazy.
Right.
They filmed it back to back.
Yeah, why didn't you just put it all in one? But never mind. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah, Netflix.
I know.
Yeah, it's because ratings. Netflix wants to drag it out.
Yep. So I was still kind of wanting to scratch that itch with South Korean shows because they apparently are really good at social commentary. And there was this one show on Netflix that actually is similar to Squid Games.
Huh.
Is that like I forget the name of it, but I think I know what show you're talking about.
The H Show.
Yes, I was thinking of starting that. Is it good?
It's really good. So, just a little premise of it. It has the similarities of Squid Game, and with the main character, he's running from debt collectors, and he's in need of money. And at first, he kind of is trying to kill himself, but then he gets this opportunity to participate in a new show. He will get money by just participating. There's nothing else. Like there's no catch that he detects at the beginning. So, and he's like driven to this in a big limousine to a deserted place, and he takes up like there are keys, like there are 8 keys on a table in front of him, and the terms of the show. And the thing is, he has to, he can't wear his own clothes. They will provide him with this clothes that he has, and then he will just have to stay on the show for as long as he wants, and he will earn money based on that. Okay.
Nice.
So that doesn't sound like a bad deal,
Yeah.
So okay, and he signs the paper, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely up for that. And he's giving this choice of this 8 keys. Some of them have already been taken, and he decides to take number 3. It's like the number 3 is kind of lucky, I think, in Korean culture. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong, but he takes that key, and he's like, yeah, I think this one is pretty lucky. And then he noticed that there are 8 participants in this show, and they all live in this floor. So the keys are actually indicating to the floors they live in this show.
Okay.
And he's on a 3rd floor, and there's like the 1st floor, 2nd, 3rd, and then all the way to the 8th floor. And he realizes after speaking with the others that the lower you are on the floor, the less money you make.
Ah.
It's like for each hour that you are on the show, you earn money, but it depends on where you are on the floor. And the person on the 8th floor, I think for each hour, she is like earning millions in cash. While he on the 3rd floor, and especially the one on the 1st floor, he only earns like 10,000 won, and won is not a lot.
No.
So, and they discovered they only had, and then they discovered they have just like a limit of time. They don't have anything in the floor, like in their rooms. There's nothing there. They can order stuff with a phone, but it will cost them. And these are really expensive shit for just like cheap ass shit. So like for example, he wanted to buy a bed or a mattress, and it was like 50,000 won, and he was like, oh, that's half my salary. So he didn't want to do that. So he just ordered newspapers, and he's just living in newspapers.
Oh my God.
While the person on the 8th floor, she's like living extravagantly because she earns that much, and she doesn't have to care about money,
Yeah.
So it basically becomes kind of like a power struggle of capitalism. and social structure.
Huh.
So they have to, in order to, so they can't leave. Like they're free to leave, but then they can't earn any more money. They just leave with the money that they have. So they try to come up with some methods to keep, increasing the time that they can be on the show. Like at first it was only 24 hours. And then they try to run up the stairs, and that apparently increased the time that they had. Like the people that are watching, they're like, oh, this is fun, so we're going to give you more time for that,
Yeah.
And then it just goes downhill from there. Then it's just like, oh, they like the viewers aren't that interested in this. Let's turn to violence.
Nice.
Let's turn to torture. Let's turn to almost killing each other.
Jeez.
It becomes so tense each and every time because you are like, what is happening and why aren't you just leaving? And I like, this is the thing, like I can just say that I'm pretty privileged, so I haven't had this kind of issues with being in poverty like many people have. So at the same time I understood, but at the same time I also like, why are you just not leaving?
Yeah.
It's like, why are you degrading yourself for this?
Yeah.
Just for the viewers' pleasure, because they don't give a shit about you. They just want the views. And it's just like, it hurt my head and my heart because like, these people, what the fuck? Like there were 3 or 4 decent people in the group who didn't want to do any of this shit. But then like the person on the 8th floor, she was like sadistic as fuck. She was like, my hate level for her was on the same level as Joffrey from Game of Thrones. And that says a lot. She was this kind of privileged little princess,
Yeah.
who got everything that she wanted. And I just like every single time I was like, I hope you die horrifically. And I hope they show it because you deserve nothing more. Like when you watch it, because she's just laughing and like being like little princess, like I'm a performer, sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, I wanna wring your little neck and snap it in half.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it's just like, I think it's just 8 episodes. It just follows them to a T.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be a sequel. I hope not, because like it kind of ended in a pretty good way.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to get your like Squid Game fix until June, I would definitely recommend the 8 show. It's actually based on a webcomic called The Money Game.
That's great.
Yep.
It's called the H, like H as
no,
in...
the 8 show.
Oh, the 8 show. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Because it has been a while and it's been a crazy month. So I have read and seen, maybe not a lot, but like I just finished season 1 of Severance, which was...
Oh shit! I still need to watch that.
I just started Severance.
Oh man, guys, I won't.
You'll find this funny, but I've been binging 911.
like was that Fox? Is that a Fox show?
I think it's Fox.
Okay,
It's on Hulu. I've just been watching on Hulu.
That's amazing.
I'm on season 3.
Hey, so sometimes you need those. I've been like binging, rewatching Happy Endings, and that's on Hulu, so I get it.
Severance.
But Severance is amazing. I won't get much into it. We're in the middle of season 2, or like the world's in the middle of season 2. I just finished season 1. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people watched it, but it's reminded me a bit of Stanley Parable. If you ever played that game, it's not completely like that, but it's got that kind of idea.
Apparently, Stanley Parable was an inspiration for
That makes sense, because when you like, if you've played that game and then you watch the show, it's like, oh, this is very similar. But then the show does some really crazy, completely different things. Reminded me a hair of one I just recently read, and I won't talk about because I got other things I want to talk about. But Philip K. Dick's Penultimate Truth. Because we've discussed before, I'm going through all Philip K. Dick stuff, and anyway, reminded me a bit of that too. Not a lot, but there's just enough in there where I'm like, okay, these two definitely some inspirations. But anyway, one of the books I wanted to talk about was Huron Nennes. It's called Leech. It seems like a kind of common social media thing to post every once in a while. Gee, I really wish I read something that was similar to The Thing. And people are like, yeah, that'd be great. And oh, I should write something about The Thing. Blah, 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 blah. And I know we've covered that story, Things, I believe, which is from the point of view of The Thing. Anyway, Leech will fill that gap of you wanting something that's similar to The Thing, but different. It is set in this northern area, just full of snow. There is this virus thing that is getting into people, and nobody knows who has it. It doesn't make them completely act different, but it's a virus, so it wants to propagate. So it does things to make itself propagate. And we also are, so that's kind of the overarching thing. The story itself is following this medical person who we find out throughout the story, so it's not really too much of a spoiler, but is also part of a kind of virus thing, basically just propagating thing that's been studying humans and has a hive mind, which is helpful for this type of doctor, because then the doctor can hive mind it to one of his buddies, and the buddy can read a book and tell this other buddy that, like, here's the thing I read, or here's the thing I learned, and they all connect it. And so this doctor, medical person, is in this community trying to figure out what this other virus is and try to stop it. And it gets very paranoid throughout. And the awesome thing, and this is not really a spoiler, but it's just this neat kind of story way Huron writes this, is that you start picking up clues that this is the Earth thousands of years from now, and something major happened to make the world the way it is. Because as you're reading it, it feels very late 18th century, early 19th century kind of time frame. So no one really has cars. It's all train and steam powered, and it's not steampunk in any way, but it's just that time frame. And so, like, even the medical stuff is very that time frame, but you get these little hints here and there throughout that, like, oh, this is like far in the future and something big happened, and these people are just what, like, came out, like, you know, the Earth just keeps going and where humans just keep going. So it's just a really neat story device, and the way they do this, the way they tell stuff in the story, you're like reading a paragraph and you're like, oh, wait, this just happened. Or even like this hive mind thing, it gets revealed pretty quick, but like the first couple chapters, you're like, something really weird is going on. And like, I don't understand what, like, you don't fully get the story. And I'm not giving most of it away. There's a lot more involved to it, but the hive mind thing sort of slowly peeks its way in. It's never just given to you. It's always kind of earned as you're reading it. And so and again, it's just that, I mean, there's literally a thing with the dog that might have this virus in it. And again, I won't spoil what happens, but it's very much, you're like, okay, clearly this is the thing. But it's also got a bit of that early 19th, late 18th century kind of gothic-y giant mansion thing. I guess the best comparison would be a little bit of Crimson Peak, with that crumbling mansion with all the red wax coming down and everything like that. It kind of has that feel to it, just not the incestuous, well, maybe not incestuous feel that Crimson Peak has. But anyway, Leech, Huron Nennes. If you're ever looking for something that you're like, I want to read that's sort of like the thing, this is the one for you. So that's mine.
I've just added that to my wish list. That sounds really good, actually.
It blew me away all the way through. I think more people need to talk about this because it is absolutely amazing.
I have way too much stuff on my list.
Yeah. Oh, I hear you.
Like, I look at half my books and I'm like, man, am I ever gonna live long enough to read all these? Like,
trust me, I feel I do that with like all my games and like stuff. I'm just like, there's no way I'm ever gonna play and beat all these video games I just bought. So they're just gonna sit there forever and be around after I die.
So I will say with a TV, I have a recommendation that I enjoyed quite a bit recently.
Yeah,
which was Castlevania Nocturne.
Oh, how
I
is
that too.
What'd you think? What'd you think of season 2?
I liked it.
I thought they did such a great job with the side characters.
It did, yes. They gave them more. How to say? Like, what's it called again?
Emotion.
More emotion and just more. Just their own motivations.
Yeah, like what was it? I forget his name, but like the guy who was I'm blanking on names right now. That dude who was turned into a demon.
Oh yeah, Edward.
Like when he was singing and like that was so great.
It really was,
but he didn't want to be a demon, and like the whole like tragedy of his character was so good.
That's what I loved about the other Castlevania series. You know, the one that Isaac turned. He was a forge master as well, and he turned and he was talking to the night creature that looked like a fly.
Yeah.
And I was really engrossed in that conversation. It was really philosophical.
It was.
But it was also like asking the right questions. And I was like, yeah, you guys need to think about this. Like what are you gonna do? Like when you're there, like can you live like normal people? And like Isaac addresses that. He's just, he gave him a berry.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet because he was like, no, I'm like the night creature, like I feed on blood and meat. And he's like, but do you want a berry? And he's like, actually, I do. So yeah, have a berry. And he just gives him a berry. And he's like, oh my God. And then he just, gets all the memories back from when he was human.
Yeah.
And I just really loved that. I was like, please, I need this. I need more. Give me more.
Also, that this is a spoiler, but that scene when Marie got revenge against her father.
That was so good.
That was so good. That was like female rage, just bam.
Yep.
Like,
and just what she said, like what she said when she destroyed him was like, every fucking decision is done by stupid old men.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of wanted just to sit up and just do a standing ovation, but at the same time, I was like, Carmilla would have loved you.
I also loved like Richter and how he had the more flaws of the other Belmont characters.
I think, this is the reason why I enjoyed Nocturne more than the others, because in the later Nocturne Castlevania series, they were just so fucking OP.
Yeah.
Just nothing happened to them. They didn't suffer or anything like that. They like Sypha, like she's an amazing female character, but she was like never tired from using her magic, and I'm like, bitch, please. It's like you would be exhausted from using magic every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And in Nocturne, they show that, like with Annette. Annette is like learning this kind of like earthbending. I just call it earthbending because this is earthbending to me. And she's like not really good in controlling it. She's still learning how to use it. She gets tired when she's using it. And I'm like, this is how you do it.
She is a great character too. Like all those characters are really good. I loved Alucard coming back.
I did, but I feel like Juiced was useless.
Juice was kind of useless.
It's like, why did you bring this guy? He was just there for exposition.
Yeah, no, he was there because he had the connection, so he could explain things.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was there for the exposition, and also like, we don't want to leave this 15-year-old girl behind. And he's like, I'll watch over her, and like, yeah, you're not going to do shit, but okay.
But I really hope we get a third season because like this kind of ended things, but there's also.
Are you kidding me? It ended on such a subtle cliffhanger.
It did.
I really want to know what happens to Maria's mother.
Same. Like that's the thing is, it ended where they could end it here and just leave us pontificating about things.
Yeah.
But if they do a third season, I'm fucking there day one.
We immediately after my husband and I watched the last show, we went on Google and like, is there going to be a season 3? And what we managed to gather was that if a lot of fans are watching the show, Netflix is going to greenlight a season 3. But at the same time, the creators are like, but given how Netflix is, we're not crossing our fingers.
Netflix tends to be kinder to animated shows.
Yeah, a little bit.
But again, I thought Nocturne was great. I thought the action was fantastic. The characterization was all great. I loved the romance between Olrox and Miss Rock. Yes.
I was there for it. I was like, please just give me more of those two. They're such polar opposites, but they're so cute together.
And also between Richter and it was Antoinette.
Annette.
Annette, like Richter and Annette had a great romantic arc as well. The whole thing just worked really well as a show, and like I loved it.
It was really good. It brought more tension than the others, to be honest.
Yeah, and it also still had the horror elements and the violence and the action. Like everyone was satisfied.
Yeah.
Just to speed things up a little bit, so we can get onto some of our recommendation, our roundup things. One last recommendation from me. The show's new. There's only 2 episodes out. But did either of you watch the show Scavenger's Reign?
Yeah.
For some reason, it's not available here for Europe, which is weird. But I have VPN, so I saw it on Netflix, so I'm gonna watch it there.
Nice.
You saw Scavenger's Ruin, right, Matt?
Yes.
Okay.
I loved it.
The team behind that show has a new animated show out.
Yeah. What's it called?
It's on Max. It's called Common Side Effects.
Yes.
It's being executively produced by Mike Judge. It's a bit more of a comedy conspiracy thriller.
I thought, it's the one that's drawn really like cartoony, right?
Kind of. I wouldn't say it's kind of trippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving me Rick and Morty a little bit, but not as.
I'd say it looks more realistic than Rick and Morty does.
Yeah, I wonder what because that team, because just from the trailer I saw, it looked similar to Scavenger's Reign animation style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the premise is pretty much, I forget the character names, so I'm gonna blank on those. But it's about this man who won the lottery, and with his lottery winnings, he was able to find a mushroom. And if you take this mushroom, it cures anything. Like if you die and you give this mushroom to someone who just died, it brings them back to life.
Oh, wow. Nice. I'm going to love this show.
It cures any illness. It cures anything. And he's collected them. Now, the DEA has him listed as a terrorist and a drug trafficker. And the DEA is trying to hunt him down. While this is happening, he gets reunited with an old high school friend of his who is the friend of a big pharma CEO. And she wants to use this mushroom to sell a product to her CEO to like get herself rich. And then there's someone who's very shadowy who has a hit squad out trying to find this man and kill him so they can destroy all the mushrooms to make sure it never exists again.
Nice.
I'm probably gonna love the fuck out of the show. I love a good conspiracy theory.
And all these people kind of come together.
That's awesome.
It is a really great conspiracy thriller show with some good kind of comedy against the big pharma industry, and it works really well. The comedy works, the action works, the suspense works. I'm completely sold.
That's awesome. Yeah, it looked neat from the trailer, and I was just excited for them to do more stuff. So since they kind of bombed out on Scavenger's Reign,
which sucks. That show is so fucking good.
Yeah.
But that's it for me. If you guys have anything else.
Trying to.
Yeah.
I did this. You guys have already recommended it, but I just want to say that I finally watched The Substance.
Oh, the movie's great.
And I loved every fucking minute of it. It's so good.
How to do that chicken, the chicken scene?
Oh. like I knew this was this was gonna be body horror, and this is like they were showing this film in one of our it's kind of like an indie cinema basically, and it got news that people were fainting while they were watching it, and so they were preparing hey, we have some treats for you if you faint, and also we have a barf bag if you need. So I was prepared. That's why I was I don't want to see this in the movies in case this will trigger me. So I'm just gonna wait until we can watch it at home.
Yeah.
Because that way I have more control. And it was gross. It was so fucking gross. It ticked all of my the things that actually horrify me. It's with the nails and with the teeth and everything. Just this is what some of the things that I will absolutely do not want to watch. I just closed my eyes immediately. I did not watch that part. I was like, oh my God, and just covered my eyes. But it's just so good. It's so good. It's just so in your face.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I was like, this is really sexual. But then again, I was like, oh, but it's French, so it makes sense. It's European.
Yeah.
And the last part of the movie was bonkers. So bonkers. It was like you were on a psychedelic drug,
Yeah.
But I loved
that movie so much.
Yeah, I love that movie so much, and I'm so happy that it's getting an Oscar nomination. And I really hope that Demi gets her win because she deserves every minute of it.
Yeah.
She was so good in it. And I was every time I just kept watching, I was like, Jam, she looks good. It's she's so pretty. She's still so beautiful. What the fuck are you people talking about? And I know it's a commentary on beauty and everything, but I was like, Demi, you're so beautiful. Even when you were this old lady, I was like, oh, you're still so beautiful.
Oh.
I loved every minute of the movie. I was so happy that I watched it.
Well, that's amazing.
I did. This is not a recommendation, but I did watch one movie. I don't know if I can recommend it, but I will tell you about it. I don't know if you watched it or if you read the book it's based on.
Uh-oh.
Night Bitch.
Oh, no.
I've heard mixed things about the book.
That's what I've been hearing. Yeah.
That's the thing. The only thing that I had heard about the book was that it was horror. So I was like, okay, it's a horror book, and this just got released on Hulu or on Disney Plus here in Iceland. So I was like, hey, it's a horror movie. Let's watch it. Boy, did I regret it. It was not my demographic. Me and my husband were so not the demographic for this movie.
I think in the demographic is suburban moms.
Yeah. That's the thing. I was like, God damn it. And my husband and I were like, can we just kill the kid? The kid is so fucking annoying. And I was like, it's not just the kid, the husband and the woman. They're just all of them, they're horrifying. Just kill all of them, then we're fine. It was so whiny. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, but, this is what you chose. And then at the end, they're like, they start arguing. And then the husband is like, do you regret having the kid? And I'm like, this is something you should discuss before getting married.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, you guys? And then she's like lamenting the fact that she can't be an artist while being a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, yes, you can. You just don't know how to do it, but okay. Yeah. She's like, I just like kind of like look. Like, I know a lot of single moms here in Iceland, and I'm like, they're working full time and they're doing shit, so you can't complain.
Right.
Yeah.
She was so whiny. She was just like, oh, everybody, woe is me, pity me. I have such a difficult time. I'm like, bitch, do something.
I do like Amy Adams as an actress.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
But
she was good in this.
I feel like, I don't know, Night Bitch, I think, has a fantastic title.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it doesn't meet up to the expectations that title has.
No, because it's so weird. Like, the only horror elements in this was that she was kind of feeling a transformation. And
yeah.
I was like, oh, she's turning into a werewolf? Like, what the hell? No, she just turns into a dog and just runs around at night. And hunts rabbits. So that's where she gets her goodies from, I guess. It's like, this is where she can release all her pent-up rage. I don't know. It was just trying a stab at feminism, and I'm like, you've completely missed the mark. It's like it was also like a stab at getting like a body autonomy. I was like, no, bitch, you also missed the mark.
Oh my god.
And there was this one scene like that was I knew it, and I should have expected it, but it still fucking caught me by surprise. Like, they have a cat, unsuspecting cat, that's suddenly waltzing around, and I was like, oh, why did they have a cat? Why did he suddenly appear? Why is he? And then I was like, oh no, forget that. I know why he's there.
Yeah, that sounds. I'm guessing I know where that's going.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Oh.
And apparently, because I managed to close my eyes before it happened, my husband said it was kind of brutal. I'm like, amazing. Why?
Yeah, I hear those were the things I heard about the book. Is it was a really brutal killing of a cat.
Yeah, it was really like,
and it turned off a lot of readers.
Yeah, I checked in the book. I checked in the reviews, and like people were like, "This was fucking graphic. Why?"
Yeah, like it comes out of nowhere too.
Yeah, and apparently they also changed things from the book that I'm really happy that they did, because in the movie that wouldn't have made any sense. In the book, she kind of like gets back her, I don't know, independence or some shit by putting on an art show where she pretends to be a dog and is killing rabbits in front of people. In the book, like, that was her performative piece, and I'm like, okay,
so
edgy, guys, and so feminine, you know,
so edgy,
so feminine and edgy, guys, and in the movie they switched it up, and she just kind of like did a taxidermy on all the things that she had gathered as a dog and put it in the show, and I was like, okay.
Oh man.
And it was so funny. It was so funny because and also, like, I'm talking about the completely missing the mark of being, you know, independent and being a feminist. In I don't know if it happens in the book or but in the movie, they split up so she can get her time to be, you know, do this artist thing, and then he goes to the show, and they get back together again. And the movie ends with them having a second child.
Genius.
Right? Like, mind-blowing shit, guys.
This will fix all of our problems.
Yeah, after the movie ended, I just turned to my husband. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I recommended this. Like, I had no idea. We went into this blind. This was horrifyingly bad.
That is amazing.
So it was like, yeah, this is not my demographic. Like, I was not the demographic for this. But at the same time, I've been like reading the reviews of the book, and there are a lot of like suburban moms who are writing the reviews. They're like, the fuck is this? They did not enjoy it. They're like, what is this? This is not for me.
That's amazing. Like, the demographic they were shooting for is like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This does not.
I mean that happens. Sometimes you just you miss the mark. And I hope for her she just moves on and does better.
Yeah.
And Hulu will get better horror stuff too.
Oh yeah, I think this year we're getting a lot of good movies. So
are we?
We are.
I think so.
Honestly, we already got a movie. So let's get into kind of like what we're looking forward to this year.
Okay.
Versus like kind of what we loved from last year.
Yeah.
But I already saw a movie like last week that I think will be on my top 10 horror list at the end of the year this year.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah. Companion.
Yes, I've been hearing really good things about that.
Okay.
Have you heard about this one yet, Bitleman?
I've heard that it's good. I've not heard anything about it. I kind of want to just go into this movie blind.
It's best going into a blind. Like, I don't want to... Like, if you watch the newest trailer, it reveals something that the movie reveals pretty early on. But I went into it having that spoiled for me, and I would love that to be a surprise.
Mm.
But I'll just say this. Jack Quaid, Huey from The Boys, plays such a good asshole.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I mean,
he plays such a good asshole.
He's the son of Dennis Quaid, and if you remember how he was in The Substance, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no, like he plays such a good asshole. And Guillermo from
What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, he plays a fantastic flamboyantly gay character.
Oh, love it.
And it is such a great horror movie that sounds like from Night Bitch, has a lot more to say about women's independence and a lot more to say about women's bodily autonomy.
Okay. I'm into it right now. I haven't seen that. I don't know if they're gonna show it here in Iceland, because like my husband and I were actually discussing this at lunch today. It's like there are no good movies that I want to see, like at the actual cinema.
That movie is high on that movie is going to be on my top 10 list definitely, unless it somehow manages to be outdone. But I don't see that happening. Also, Sinners coming out.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Sinners yet, Bitleme?
Oh yeah. Question though, like I've seen the trailer, but
yes,
are the white people vampires or demons?
Vampires. And Michael B. Jordan's character's twin brother becomes a vampire too.
Okay.
So it's Michael B. Jordan playing twins, and one of those twins becomes like a vampire. Okay.
I'm always up for that. Though I have been burned by a similar. Have you guys seen Daywatch? Like the Day Shift?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's like, I thought it was going to be a great vampire film. I was sorely disappointed by that.
I agree. I think what makes this one more...
Because this is more leaning to the horror, right?
Well, it's more to the horror, but it's also Ryan Coogler as director.
Okay.
And Ryan Coogler, he did Fruitvale Station. He did the first two Creed movies. He did the first Black Panther movie.
Okay.
He did something else. I don't think he did the second Black Panther movie, but he always works with Michael B. Jordan. Like, him and Michael B. Jordan are tight. Okay. And he always gets really great performances of Michael B. Jordan. He always gets really compelling stories. So like I think them as a team makes this movie compelling for me as like a vampire fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's high on my list for this year.
When does it come out?
I think April.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, but it looks really sweet. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
Also, the monkey's coming out at the end of the month.
I'm like I'm torn on that. It looks like a blast. It looks like a Final Destination movie.
Oh, by the way, yeah, Final Destination is coming also.
Yep, that's coming back. The thing is, the story for the monkey was a Final Destination type story.
Yeah.
But the movie's the story's a bit more sinister, where the movie kind of feels like it's playing a bit more to the slapstick side of it.
Yeah.
Which, I could use a good gory horror comedy in all honesty. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see Osgood Perkins do something like that for sure. I'm mixed on him, but I this does look good. So
I think Osgood Perkins, even when his movies are bad, he's always interesting.
Yeah, definitely, and he does and that's and he's great visually. So that's one part of it for sure.
Well, it's like I thought Long Legs was really good. I thought Gretel and Hansel was kind of meh.
Oh God, I hated that movie.
I didn't like I Am the Pretty Thing Lives in This House.
See, I didn't see that one.
I don't like that one. I love The Blackcoat's Daughter. Like, I think Longlegs and The Blackcoat's Daughter are two great movies.
Yeah, I'll say definitely for both of those. Even because I know I talked about Longlegs on the show in the past, but it's definitely one I keep thinking about even after this long a time of seeing it. So
I kind of like. Again, I want us to get on the topic, but Longlegs was one of my favorites of last year. But I kind of like how Osgood Perkins, because he was an actor before he got into directing.
Yeah.
And he acted in sitcoms and stuff and comedies. But as a director, I think Anthony Perkins and his closeted homosexuality and the lies that he told his family. I feel Osgood Perkins is trying to explore that along his fiction. Where a lot of his stories are parents hiding the truths from their children until they can't hide them anymore. But until that becomes a point, the truth is so devastating, it ruins everything revolving those relationships and how the protagonists of those movies see the world around them.
Yeah.
Which is kind of deep.
Yeah, totally.
But I feel that, and the monkey feels like it's a shift of that, but it's also kind of about the sins of the parents because the kids inherit their father's toy monkey that when it claps the cymbal, somebody dies.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of playing into that trope a little bit.
Definitely.
Also, guess what else is coming up this year?
Oh man.
You mean Until Dawn?
Oh yeah, that looks kind of bad. New Joe Hill novel.
Oh.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Oh wait, yes I did. It's like a big tome.
It's 1,000 pages long. It's like a tome. It's his first novel in 6 years.
Crazy.
It's called King Sorrow. And it's supposed to be an epic horror novel. And I can tell you. Yeah, horror.
Yeah, but wait, what? Is it an epic fantasy then, or
epic horror novel? What?
It's probably going to be like The Stand or Swan Song. Just the really
no, it sounds really interesting. So it's not post-apocalyptic or anything.
Okay.
But it says this is what the Amazon write-up says. Okay, it comes out October 21st. It says here. Arthur Oakes is an outsider. His mother is in prison. His father is long gone, so he spends his time lost in the legends of English mythology. Then one unintended incident, one moment of standing up for another underdog, leaves his mother in danger and him with the orders to steal rare books from the college library. And the events that will unfold from that single act of bravery will lead to slaughter. Because his gang of 6 close friends, all outsiders, intend to use a tome bound in human skin in an arcane ritual to summon the notorious dragon demon, King Sorrow, to kill their tormentors. They enter into a pact. King Sorrow will kill the couple who have been terrorizing the group in exchange for their worship. But dragons are not to be trusted, and soon they realize this isn't just revenge. They must repeat the ritual every year, including choosing who their king will kill next. From 1980s Midwest America to 2020's England, King Sorrow is a game-changing horror novel with an unforgettable cast, led by 6 clever damaged protagonists, battling all manner of menaces, both supernatural all too human.
Nice.
Okay, I might actually get into that.
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Joe last October.
Nice.
I bumped into him at the Merrimack Valley Halloween Festival, and we were talking as we were walking to our cars.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he told me
Does he drive a nice car?
I think he drove a Subaru.
Okay. I was just thinking of it.
He told me that he's planning on trying to be a novel a year writer.
Wow. All right.
Ooh,
And he has a novel planned for next year. He told me he finished edits for a novel for 2026. He's editing a novel for 2027 right now and working on a novel for 2028.
Hey, good for him.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's trying to become a novel a year guy.
That's
Because he also told me what happened about Hill House Comics.
Oh, yeah. What happened? Well, I guess it's fine. You don't need to say it. It's probably
pretty much
private.
the editor who was his batter in the DC offices got fired. And then DC kind of stopped promoting the Hill House comics, and Joe kind of felt like he had nobody batting for his team and just walked.
Oh, that's a bummer. Too bad he couldn't take it.
Yeah, and he's bummed because he always wanted to be a comics writer.
Yeah.
So, but he's going back to novels, which I'm excited for because he's a hell of a novelist.
Yeah.
But besides that, there's a lot more coming out this year, but I want to hear what you guys are looking forward to.
Yeah.
And what you guys loved of last year, too.
I think I'm trying to, it's so tricky because things just sort of appear, I mean, maybe not totally, but it feels like things just sort of appear.
Is it okay if I start?
Yeah, go for it. Because I'm
okay.
thinking.
There is one movie that I'm super excited to see. 28 years later.
Ari, okay.
28 years later.
Oh, hell yes. And the sequel to that's coming out. They're doing a trilogy.
What?
Yeah, that's going to be
They're
a new
doing a trilogy of movies. 28 years later comes out this year, and then next year it's 28 years later, The Bone Something.
Oh my God, that's going to be amazing. And there's one
in the pipeline as well.
Amazing.
And the 28 years later is being... What?
You just went out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep, yeah. You're back.
Okay. 28 years later is being directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland.
Yep.
28 years later, I think the sequel to that one, Nia DaCosta's directing it. She did Candyman remake.
Oh. You guys watched the trailer for this movie, right?
Yes.
Yes, with the Rudyard Kipling poem.
That Rudyard Kipling poem haunts my dreams. It's so good.
It's a great poem.
Just how he's narrating it.
Yeah.
It's just horrifying. But did you know that they still use this?
Yeah, the CIA uses it for torture.
Yeah. And the British Army still uses it to their recruits.
Yeah.
That's wild when you think about it.
So excited for 28 years later.
I really am. They have some really good cast of actors like Aaron Tyler Johnson and Ralph Fiennes.
Yep.
And I feel like Ralph Fiennes is just making a comeback.
Yeah,
he is.
Matt.
Well,
I might be the dissenting voice on this.
God damn you, Matt.
I don't know. It looks neat, and I'll definitely go see it. But I don't know. It feels like they're just falling into, again, only from the trailer, but it feels like they're falling into the trap that all of these movies that are these kind of post-apocalyptic movies fall into. And I know that's part of that trend, but of like, look at, there's a group of people that wear crazy masks and they all go around and they capture people. And again, these are all guesses. I have no idea what the story's going to be, but just from the trailer, and it's like, okay, like I've seen that a million times, like do something different.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that Alex Garland is writing it and Danny Boyle is directing it.
I mean,
two always kind of are full of surprises.
I'm hoping, but from the trailer, I was like, we're doing another Mad Max, a million other things, and I'm like, okay, I'll go see it because I loved the first movie and I thought the second movie was kind of cool. But I'm just like, all right, it's been 28 years and we're still like.
Actually, the second movie is no longer considered canon.
Of course not.
Because Danny Boyle had nothing to do with the second movie. It was just the studio trying to make some money. So now Danny Boyle is connected again. He's like, fuck that shit. But he did say for this one, because you know the second movie, how it ended and we saw the infected like in France and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So he said in this one, the infected never left England.
Okay.
So the rest of the world is normal, and England.
Well, that's good. All right. I mean,
what I have a question because I'm the one who's living in Europe.
Yes.
And I need a refresher because I do plan on watching the first and second movie before going to see the third one. But had the tunnel already been built?
That's a good
that leads from Britain to France in the first movie, or in the second movie, because then that's a moot point. That is a plot hole here that he needs to tackle.
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I know, like like in the first movie, there's like a scene near the end where I think it's what's his name sees like a plane, and they make a comment about, this is only happening here. So I that is a great question.
So okay, but this is what it could seem like, and this is my guess. They should probably address it in the sequel. The movie, the 20 Days Later, took place in, I want to say 2002 when the movie came out. The Channel Tunnel was opened in 1994, so that tunnel would have been opened.
Yep.
I'm thinking what probably happened is, and they should address it in the movie if they do, is France probably barricades it off on their end or seals it off on their end.
Yeah.
To keep people from going through.
Yeah. I hope they address this because otherwise it's a huge ass plot hole.
Yeah. Because and then the second movie. Again, the second movie is fucking ridiculous. Like, there's a whole scene where the helicopter goes vertical and chops off everybody's head.
Yeah, I mean, in and the thing is, it has Americans in it.
Yeah, and
because Jeremy Renner is in it, and what are you doing here? There's
funny.
Yeah, he's in the second movie.
Yeah,
and they the American Army is somehow getting involved. I'm like, why would you? Why would you?
But that first movie, I love that 28 Days Later. It got me kicked out of my house. Back when I was living at home when my mom was still alive, my mom's head was kind of fucked up from medication. But I bought that movie from Best Buy, and she kicked me out of the house for having too many rated R movies.
Oh no, that sucks.
But no.
In terms of books, I am excited about Stephen Graham Jones' new book.
Oh, The Buffalo Hunter?
Yes.
Yo, that book sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Did you read a teenage slasher?
I have it still on my Audible. So
it's really, really good.
Yeah, that's as soon as I finish the Dead Cat Tail Assassins, that's the second one that I'm going to go to.
Hey, that's
just to prepare myself. Yeah, that's just to prepare myself when I get, because I pre-ordered the audiobook for the Buffalo Hunter.
Honestly, I'm so excited for that book.
Yeah,
I
I
would say
do. I do love. He has a really good knack for like epistolary horror.
He does. No, I think, and epistolary horror is such an underrated form of horror.
It really is.
What about you, Matt? What are you excited for this year?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm so like I have no idea.
Bowel movement.
I can think of. All right, so I know I think it's what, Death of the Unicorn. That looks pretty sweet. Or Killing of the Unicorn.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one.
So
that looks bonkers.
I want to see that.
That looks like a lot of fun. I'm sure there's other movies that are coming out that I'm looking forward to. I think we talked about The Monkey. I think Jordan Peele has one coming out this year called Him, or he's producing it. I don't know, but always down for new Jordan Peele.
Same.
Book wise, I don't know. I'm so out of it on what brand new stuff is coming out. I just sort of
him comes out this year.
Okay, see, there we go. Good. Comic book wise, I can say that Into the Unbeing is starting back up, and talking about Scavenger's Reign, or even if we talk about, say, Annihilation from Jeff Vandermeer, you should definitely check out Into the Unbeing by Zach Thompson. It is, the first volume was out last year, and it's basically these five, again, follows kind of the same trend of five scientists are in this kind of forsaken area trying to study it. But in the comic book, instead of it, like, they end up finding like a giant, and they're exploring through the body of a giant. And there's obviously weird, weird, creepy stuff. The artwork is just like amazing. Each issue has like these panels in it that are just so good. So Into the Unbeing is coming back out very soon, so definitely worth checking that out if you like that kind of stuff.
Speaking of comics, did you read Underneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees?
Oh yes.
Oh shit! I still need to get that.
They're doing a sequel to that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I can't remember when that's coming out, but I know it's that sequel. So yeah, definitely read that one if you haven't. If you like Richard Scarry and Dexter serial killer stuff. Other stuff I can think of is Charles Soule and Ryan Brown have The Lucky Devils coming out. So I think I talked about them before. They did 8 Billion Genies, which is just a brilliant comic about everyone getting a genie and getting one wish. Everyone in the world getting one genie and getting a wish. And as you can imagine, craziness ensues. They're actually making that into a animated movie through Amazon. So look forward to that. But Lucky Devils is great. It's about how everyone has basically a devil's on their shoulder trying to prod them into suffering. And two characters get their devils reveal themselves, and their devils say, we're going to make your life the best life ever, because we're sick and tired of making suffering. But what you really find out is these two devils are trying to take down hell. And so the best way to do that is to make these two people have the best lives ever. I'm just, after 8 Billion Genies, I know this is going to get so wacky and awesome. So definitely check that out. I don't know, book wise, I think we got some great publishers putting stuff out. Ghoulish is going to have amazing books come out this year that I can't think of off the top of my head, but they always put out great stuff. Tenebrous has some great books coming out. Again, can't think of any off the top of my head, but just look at Tenebrous and you'll be happy. And Weird Punk Books, they are also going to have a lot of great stuff out that I've kind of seen, and I don't have the names off the top of my head, but again, these three publishers always deliver.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Which one?
I think Ghoulish has some good stuff coming out too.
Yeah, exactly. So those are, just look at them. Just follow their.
We're gonna be eating. We're gonna be eating.
We're gonna be eating.
We're gonna be eating.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think we're in for a good year when it comes to horror, and it's gonna be a good distraction from the world around us.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to talking this Dead Cattail Assassins novella next weekend.
Yes.
Good old P. I can't pronounce the name. It's like P. Deji Clark.
Dej?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works for me.
But no, I'm excited. I loved the other stuff I read by him. I want to read his Jin novels. Those sound pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's have a good year for Abyss.
Yeah, let's do it.
Vitlame, where can Lucy's get in touch with you?
I'm lurking on Instagram, and I'm also getting more and more active on Blue Sky, and I at Vitlame Mist. And you can also find my books and stuff on my website, whitlamemistauthor.com.
Perfect. So Matt, what about you?
Yeah, it's just I know we've for a year have just talked about crazy social media fun stuff, and it just feels like it's even more insane the last couple months. I'm mostly always on Blue Sky now. I think just my name, Matt Brandenburg.
Yeah,
Matt, something like that. I don't know. There is a Twitter account, but man, I've not been on it at all. And every time I go on it, I'm just like, it's just all bots at this point. So I don't know.
I'm making a Blue Sky for Abyss.
Good.
So we're gonna have Abyss on Blue Sky very soon, but you can follow me on Blue Sky under my name, Richard Gerlach.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna use that site more too because the other sites have become hellscapes.
Yeah, pretty much.
But this is a crew from Staring to the Abyss saying, keep on staring.